What if the woman you loved walked away, the moment you needed her the most? What if she chose a richer man and left you to raise the kids alone, broke, broken, and betrayed? But what happens when that same man she abandoned becomes the one man she can't reach anymore? This isn't just a story about heartbreak, it's about the pain of being discarded, the fire that comes from being left behind, and the comeback that shuts every mocking mouth. Stay with us because the ending will leave you speechless. Like, subscribe, and watch till the very last second. If someone truly loves you, do they only love the version of you that can provide? What happens when that version disappears? My name is Marcus, and I used to believe in forever. I was the guy who worked overtime, skipped vacations, and even pawned his favorite guitar just to make sure the bills were paid on time. I wasn't rich, but I provided. I loved deeply, worked hard, and protected my family. My wife Cassandra and I had been together since our early 20s. We had 2 kids, a mortgage, and dreams that we whispered about on sleepless nights. But all of that began to crumble the day I walked through our front door with a severance letter in my hand. The tech company I work for downsized. No warning, no grace period, just a polite goodbye and a box to clear my desk. I remember the look in Cassandra's eyes when I told her. It wasn't fear, it wasn't sadness, it was disgust. She didn't even try to hide it. So what now, Marcus? You're just going to sit at home and rot like some loser? That sentence hit harder than the job loss. I expected support. I got sarcasm. For weeks, I tried to keep things together. I sent out resumes, went to interviews, even picked up a few small gigs fixing computers just to earn something. But nothing was enough for her. She stopped cooking, stopped talking to me. The woman who once swore we'd get through anything started treating me like a burden. And then, one night, she didn't come home. I wish I could say that was the most painful moment, but the real heartbreak was still on the way. That night stretched into morning. My phone calls went straight to voicemail. My texts were left on read. At 6 a.m., Cassandra finally walked in. No explanation, no apology, just silence and the smell of a perfume that wasn't hers. I asked where she'd been. She looked at me like I was the problem. Out, she said, and that was it. I wanted to believe it was just a phase that stress had gotten the best of us. But her coldness wasn't temporary. She moved like I didn't exist. She dressed up more often, started staying out longer. Her phone, once open on the table, was now locked away like a vault. I started piecing things together, even though my heart begged me not to. But nothing hurt more than the day I saw her being dropped off by another man. In our driveway, in front of our kids, he drove a sleek black BMW, the kind of car I used to admire from behind bus windows. He stepped out in tailored suits and gold chains. His confidence screamed, money. My heart shattered watching my wife laugh with him, like she hadn't laughed with me in months. I didn't cause a scene. I simply walked back into the house and stared at our wedding photo. That picture of us in cheap clothes and big dreams. I couldn't believe how quickly loyalty turned to luxury. The next week, Cassandra packed her things. I can't do this anymore, she said. You're dragging me down. No remorse, no second thoughts, just a suitcase full of pride and betrayal. After she left, I tried to hold it together for the kids, but even they sensed the storm. My daughter, Ava, asked if mommy was coming back. My son, Liam, started wetting the bed again. I answered questions with lies wrapped in love. She's just taking a break, I said, but even I didn't believe it. Cassandra didn't just abandon me. She stopped calling the kids too. Days turned into weeks. I'd text her updates about their school, their drawings, their birthdays. Sometimes she replied with a thumbs up. Most times she didn't reply at all. It was like we were ghosts in her past, inconvenient reminders of a life she wanted to forget. Unemployment benefits barely covered the essentials. I sold our TV, then my tools, then my dignity. At night I'd sit in the dark, wondering how everything went so wrong. I wasn't perfect, but I had loved her right. I had loved our family right, and still it wasn't enough. One day I saw a photo of her on social media sipping cocktails on a yacht, wearing designer clothes captioned, "Living soft, no stress, no broke energy." I stared at that picture for hours. That was the day something in me died, but something else started to grow too, something stronger than heartbreak. I was in a gas station bathroom, washing my face when an old man noticed the tears I couldn't hold back. He sat beside me and asked, You fighting demons or just tired of being strong? I broke down. I told him everything. He handed me a card, a community business program for unemployed people. Start small, he said, but never stay small. I took the card. I showed up. I listened. I learned. Coding, e-commerce, marketing. I didn't sleep much, but I didn't need sleep. I needed revenge. Not the kind with fists, but the kind that wears suits in success. I started a small online tech repair business, just me, a laptop, and secondhand tools. First month, 0 clients. Second month, 5. Third month, 20. Word of mouth spread. I reinvested every dollar, slept on the floor, ate noodles. I missed birthdays. I missed rest, but I didn't miss opportunities. 2 years in, I launched a tech startup, one focused on digital security. Investors laughed at first. Then they listened. Then they signed. At year 3, we hit 7 figures. I moved into a luxury condo, and every day I looked in the mirror and said, she left you, and now she can't reach you. She messaged me one evening casually like nothing had happened. Hey stranger, I heard you're doing well. I stared at the message for a long time. The audacity. No apology, no shame, just that fake softness. I didn't reply. I archived it. 2 days later, another message. Let's grab coffee sometime for old time's sake. I blocked her. That felt better than any paycheck. Mutual friends told me she'd left the rich guy. Apparently, he had a few more side chicks than she could handle. Karma didn't delay. Her Instagram turned quiet. Her stories were now motivational quotes and gym selfies, the universal language of regret. Meanwhile, I was growing, not just financially, but emotionally. I was in therapy. I was learning what real love should look like, what self-worth should feel like. And I knew she'd never see this version of me in person again. One night, I drove past our old house. It looked smaller now. The dreams we once had seemed distant, like memories borrowed from someone else's life. I didn't stop. I didn't need to. I had already said goodbye, long ago, the moment she stopped choosing us. Closure doesn't always come with words. Sometimes it's in the silence. Sometimes it's in the fact that you no longer wish things had turned out differently. Months later, I received a letter, handwritten, from Cassandra. She apologized for everything, said she was lost, confused, chasing validation, that she thought money would make her feel whole, but it didn't, that she misses the life we had, that she hopes maybe one day I'll forgive her. I folded it neatly, burned it in my sink. Some things don't need to be kept, especially when they no longer carry weight. One night, Ava asked, "Dad, do you still love Mom?" I took a deep breath. I love who she used to be, but I don't know that person anymore. She nodded. I'm glad you didn't break, Daddy, because now we're happy. Out of the mouths of children come the most healing truths. I met Elise at a tech conference. She was bold, kind, brilliant, and had survived her own storms. We weren't broken. We were rebuilt. Slowly, she taught me how to trust again, to laugh again, to hope. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. And that made all the difference. Cassandra reached out again. She wanted to rebuild the family. Said she was ready to be a mother again, but it was too late. The kids didn't remember her voice, and I wasn't going to force a history they didn't live. I told her we could arrange supervised visits, but there'd be no us again. Not ever. When Elise and I got married, it was intimate, peaceful. My children walked me down the aisle. My mother cried, and somewhere I knew Cassandra was watching through someone's story, because people like her always watch what they can't reach. That day wasn't just about love. It was about rising from ruins. I looked in the mirror that night and smiled. I wasn't just successful. I was whole. I had survived betrayal, poverty, humiliation. And now, I stood as the man I always hoped to become, and the man she never deserved. A magazine interviewed me, asked about my journey. I didn't mention her name, not out of mercy, but because she wasn't relevant to the man I'd become. I said, sometimes people leave when the rain starts, but rain makes things grow. And I grew. One evening, she came to my office, uninvited, unannounced. Security stopped her at the door. She said, I just want to talk. I nodded at the cameras. Tell the cameras everything you want to say. Maybe someone will care, but it won't be me. And I walked away. She lives in a small apartment now, alone. A few Instagram followers, no fancy bags, just filtered smiles and lonely captions. She had it all. She left it. And now she scrolls through the life that could have been hers. But I'm just a screen she can't touch anymore. If they abandon you when you're weak, never let them back when you're strong. Because this isn't just a story about betrayal, it's about becoming. It's about grace, pain, and the kind of growth that makes even your past afraid to face you. She left thinking I was finished, but I was just getting started. But this story was never really about her. It's about Ava and Liam, the kids who watched me rise again. It's about late nights, silent prayers, and the kind of strength you build when no one's clapping. It's about becoming the man I needed to be, not to win her back, but to never need her again. And when I look at my life now, I don't feel anger, I feel peace, because I didn't just survive her leaving. I became someone worth staying for. And if you're listening to this, just know you're stronger than the pain they left you with, and your best chapter might still be unwritten. That was my story. I'm Marcus, and if you've listened all the way to the end, thank you. Not just for hearing my pain, but for witnessing my healing. I used to think being left behind was the end, but sometimes it's just the start of something greater. So thank you for letting me share this part of me with you. He gave her everything, and when he had nothing, she gave him nothing back. But life has a way of rewarding those who never stop fighting, even when no one's watching. She chased comfort, he chased growth, and in the end, he became everything she couldn't touch. If you've ever been counted out, walked over, or left behind, let this be your reminder. Your story isn't over. Your comeback might just be loading. If this story moved you, hit that like button, subscribe for more real stories, and share this with someone who needs to remember. Sometimes the best revenge is becoming unreachable.